This is the part that gets scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't hear me. This is the part that gets spooky. They play that role and I'm ending the movie. Yeah, I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I never go back on my promise. Yeah, one thing I don't like to be honest. They gon' keep popping until I pop up. Look at them acting astonished. Claiming they trapped out of Hondas. They must was living in Disneyland. I was up there with problems. Stuck on the pole selling mini grams. They wouldn't last for a minute, man. Pulling them 90s on double shifts. Call them Brooke Lee up on finish, man. Twice in a day, that's a double flip. Infinite twins call them double mints. Shoot through your flesh like it's double mint. Homicide ask for my whereabouts. Nobody know where the fuck you went. Refuse to be tame, I'm a different beast. Trying to run straight in the dicky face. I'm on the road with the money yet. And now they the people 50 keys. Completed the puzzle, no missing piece. I'm on a mission like God sent me. I'm on a level that can't be reached. Nigga, I speak like God. The party is scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't hear me. This is the part that gets spooky. They play that role and I'm ending the movie. Yeah, I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God in these niggas. Serving who moving that white in the club. Yeah. I done got used to the sight. I done grew hard, just stuck in the darkness. I know my future is bright. I'm at the stove and I need it. Cooking your body, repeat. Rifles inside of the trap, trying to run up ahead. I'ma shoot me. You retreat. Niggas is not to be trusted. Searching for info, I won't reveal it. Dripping the handle, I clutch it. Shoot a bro day and I won't conceal it. Niggas be trying to stay relevant. The game was designed for intelligence. Also, I do it in fashion. Tripping designer, that's elegant. I know they gon' hate for some odd reason. I'm a pulling and clocking and Dodge Damon. Give me some time for the main bitch. She gon' swallow my nut like it's God sent. Completed the puzzle, no missing piece. I'm on a mission like God sent me. I'm on a level that can't be reached. Nigga, I speak like God. That party is scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't hear me. This is the part that gets spooky. They play that role and I'm ending the movie. Yeah, I swear to God. Fan God of these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fan God of these niggas. I swear to God. Yeah. Halito to everybody out there that's just tuning in. I'm gonna get everybody enough time to come in as we get ready to go through this information. Y'all see the title, Lost City Found in Honduras. The city is giving credit to the monkey gods. And they found some extraordinary artifacts and at this ruins deep in the Honduras jungle. But before we get to that, we're gonna touch on a few other things. I got the brother Chief Holiday in the building. I got Unconscious one coming through as well. I believe so. And we're gonna have some fun today, y'all. So peace, high energy. You know what I'm saying? So y'all already know how we do. What's up, Chief?
Black Aboriginal power. Chief
That's a
Holiday
fact.
in the building. The truth is here. Yeah, man. High energy, man. We in the building, man. I shout out to Aboriginal power, man. Peace to you, bro. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, man. You know, one of them beautiful days. Uh, giving out much hot, good energy and vibes to the brothers that's out here on this eastern coast of North Carolina, all the way down to the Virginia Beach area. They got a hurricane coming their way within the next 48 to 72 hours. So may the ancestors be with them.
That's right.
And yeah, man, y'all already know how we do, man. We about to get ready to drop some flame. Like I said, Cheek Raw, that must be one of the Aborigines, because like he said, we're gonna put the fear of God in these Negroes. You see what I'm saying? So that's just how we're gonna get down, man. So peace to everybody out there.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all American Aboriginals, man. Peace to the tribe. Yeah, man. We're gonna get into this. But you know what? You know what? I was when you telling me about this discovery earlier, right? I was like, yo, brothers like yourself, Curry Mayo, Jaguar, Thompson is one. You know what I'm saying? I can go on. Shout out to King Drop, Con Drop. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, I could go on like y'all, Phoenix Moon, like everybody that's teaching, right? You know what I'm saying? And I just knew, like, just think about this right now, right? The information that we're bringing is literally new to the people that be listening to it. Like, think about it. Motherfuckers ain't never heard this shit ever in their life. And a lot of stuff is, and they're not researching it because, they're like, yo, I don't research brain surgery. I don't research painting. You know what I'm saying? Or some shit. Like, it's something you just don't, you're not into, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So a lot of this stuff is groundbreaking information. And I'll just be thinking, like, a lot of times when we're listening to a lot of other people in the Pan African community, they're not bringing any new information. It's just Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? It's never nothing new. And I just thought that was like just interesting how, how you guys are finding so many things and, really digging and doing more research instead of, just sitting in the old, like information that was given to us in the 90s. It came from the
Right.
80s. That came from the 70s. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth, right?
Right.
So a lot of this information, like, I don't just say, oh, I'm just gonna stick in information with
She was earlier.
uh,
Get the clothes side up.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting, man. Like, and that's what as students, we're supposed to keep studying. We don't supposed to just, oh yeah, that's what he said right there. It's over. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? They came before Columbus. You know what I'm saying? So we're bold enough to say we've been here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could respectfully bring new information standing on the shoulders of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. You see what I'm saying? Without having to discredit him, he came with what he could at that particular time with the information that was available. So we couldn't have got as far as we are today without Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's, Dr. Ben's, Dr. Come on, man, John Henry Clark. Shout out to Papa. Like, come on, y'all. So I mean, so a lot of these times these guys are coming, oh yeah, we're just so against these guys and things of that nature, whatever. But that's just not true. We are students. These are our master teachers. We are master students. We're gonna keep studying. We're gonna keep. No, why would you sit? Oh, I'm done. It's over. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Hey,
Right.
that's how they sound to me. They'd be like, oh yeah, our master teacher, Professor James Small said there was people here 200,000 years plus. Wait a minute. How'd they get here? Did they have boats? was monkeys walking? Like, yo, can y'all please explain to me? Was it Atlantic Ocean? Did they have, was it conjoining land? Was the ocean not as high? I mean, I say where I'm going with this. So you have to
Right.
explain when you say these things. You have to
Right.
explain all it. You know what I'm saying? And it's, oh, well, you don't have the bones for 200 plus thousand years. We don't have. They have evidence of humans being here. See how that work? In California,
Right.
in Washington, everywhere, all over this country, right? All over America, right? And so what we're saying is we are just studying the Americas. So when you have these guys coming for us all the time, it's always crazy to me. It would be like a child trying to argue with you about something they don't know nothing about. That's how it seems to me. They be talking to me like, be knowing this how they're talking, how they're complaining. Oh, they're Native Americans, all this other stuff. I'm like, yo, they don't know what we're talking about. They don't know what
Absolutely.
Aboriginal means. Like, really, they really
Right.
don't. And
Right.
it shows because they're not even trying. You know what I mean? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But they so smart and they're so articulate on this Afrocentric information, which is not relatively updated throughout the years. The only thing they'll do is take something that said Negro or slave and refurbish it and make it say African. That's about as much updating that they're doing instead of information intellectualism. Their information is stagnant, right? So when we come to them and tell them, well, Giza don't have the largest pyramids in the world, they look at us like we're stupid, right? Because it's not privy to them. They're not privy to the updated research. They rather stay stagnant into the place of where they are. So that's why I want to kind of get into this lost city of Honduras, right? So I'm gonna screen share for you guys. as well. So let's get it shaking. Alrighty. As we click on here, we see this right here. This is published by the National Geographic, right? A were jaguar effigy likely represented a combination of a human and spirit animal. It's part of a steel burial ceremony seat in Manti, one of many artifacts discovered in the Cache and ruins deep in the Honduras jungle. So let's scroll down and see what they said. Exclusive. Lost city discovered in the rainforest. See, these are the things that these Pan Africans are not privy to, because these are new scientific methods that has been used, such as lidar testing, to just comb over parts of the jungle that looks like it has never been inhabited, but we're finding cities that they didn't even know existed. Right. So let's get into it. An expedition to Honduras has emerged from the jungle with dramatic news of this discovery of a mysteries culture, lost city never before explored. The team was led into a remote, uninhabited region by long-standing rumors that it was the site of a storied white city. So the people of Honduras had always rumored around that it was a lost city that they called the White City. The White City, also referred in the legend as the city of the monkey gods. The monkey gods. So let's go on down and let's see what else they talking about. Archaeologists surveyed and mapped extensive plots of earthworks, mounds, and other earth pyramids belonging to the culture that arrived thousands of years ago and then vanished. The team, which returned from the last site Wednesday, also discovered remarkable catch of stone sculptures that had laid untouched since the city was abandoned. And this is the city that they're talking about. So this was a big thing in Honduras. They got all the army men tallied up, and they going through different forts. And by Mayan, this vanished culture has been scarcely and remains virtually unknown. Archaeologists don't even have for it now. So these are some of the stuff that our ancestors try to leave behind, right? But it's been hidden. Who knows of other archaeologists previously that hit Honduras didn't even want to write this down on documented record because it didn't go along with their storyline. So we got to get into this some more. As a Mesoamerican archaeologist on the team from Colorado State University said that the pristine, unlooted conditions of this site was incredibly rare. He speculated that the catch found at the base of this pyramid have been an offering. So what they found was a catch, which was an area where you could stack stuff and store stuff, was where they put the offerings at the pyramid. So what this catch is at the base of the pyramid. Okay, so they don't found the pyramid in Honduras. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with right now. I mean, what more can I say? Chief, you got anything you want to talk about on that? I mean, I'm also going to go into some more.
Big Bird,
Well,
up the plane.
well, oh, okay. So you said this is in Honduras, right? So when you say
Yeah.
monkey, right?
Explain shit out. I told my-
I know that if it's they wasn't saying monkey, so what would be? Do you know what would be the term that they call the people, the guys or that or whatever? Because I know they didn't say God either. So what would?
Well, actually, no, that's what the modern people is calling it.
Right.
According to the
Why would they call
site,
it monkey though? Right.
yeah, according to the site, it says that they don't even have a name for it. They don't have a name for it. So this is only what these modern Honduras people that occupy Honduras is saying. So we know that ain't them who built it. We know that they just give it a name to give it reference to. So I can get more detail on that maybe later on, but I just want to take a look at this.
Huh?
Normally read while you're, she's normally here.
Well, no, I was just gonna ask another question. I mean, I'm just trying to, for me, man, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around this because as a former Pan African, right? I used to look at the whole world as being African. and that was based on Egypt, and that was really it was based on Egypt, right? I based all of that on Egypt and the transatlantic slave trade. So let's just eliminate Egypt or Kemet. It's only less than 200 structures there, less than 150 structures there, right?
Yeah, and less than 300 in the whole Africa.
Right. And even if we just go with slavevoyage.org, then that just debunks the whole transatlantic slave trade for the longest period of time and millions of people or whatever, based off of the numbers that they're using. We're not, and that's not even saying coming from Africa. These, it's just so crazy, y'all. It's ridiculous. It don't even say color in these things and stuff like that or whatever. So that's just another thing too, right? And also we have to account for, like, I'm gonna eliminate this. So we've already eliminated, that. So now we can say, yo, let's eliminate this part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we can eliminate Kemet, right? Kemet has, according to them, 133 pyramids. Just in this part in Honduras they just found, you got more there. See how that work?
Right.
Right. So just based on the sheer numbers alone, the sheer things, right? Based on all of that, we're grander in the Americas, in Cahokia, than Kemet. We're grander. The Mississippi River is grander than the Nile River. You see how that work? We were building more over here, so that we were building more because food was here, grown from the ground. We were growing things. You said this word? That's
right.
Fuck the datings, right? We don't even have to go with the datings. Just go with common fucking sense. It's more shit here. It took people, way more people, a long period of more time to build them. So how we look at things coming from out of Africa and everything coming out of Africa, why don't you look at it like it comes from America? And they didn't discover America. We discovered them. You're just coming back home. And they just changed the story for power, man. This is the thing, right? These characters continue to pull up stories as primary evidence, right? With no science to back them up. You see how that work? So,
Right.
and we come up with so much evidence, yo. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, math and science, it's the same. It don't change. Like, math don't change, right?
What
The
they
building
plan,
structures don't change. Stuff like that, right? Huh?
right? They gonna play off of the fact that maybe, so to speak, that we're not gonna be on point with the information, right? Like maybe we're gonna change the information in the near future from what's previously been implemented, right? And I feel like, a lot of jokers been coming around. I feel like that's maybe their job is to throw wrenches in the game to confuse the people on the information that we've been implementing to them over the last few months, right? Getting into detail on the archaeologists and on the architect standpoint, right? The next thing we're gonna get into the genetic analysis and the evolution. But right now we're just taking our time and combing over the fine layers, the top layer, which is the archaeology, which is the artifacts, which is the paleontology, and that's why this lost city is so valid. So I'm gonna play this clip, and we're gonna get into this right now.
Archaeologists may have found it. They've actually discovered 2 lost cities in the deep jungle of Honduras. The finding yielded incredible evidence of a pyramid, plazas, artifacts, including the effigy of a half-human, half-jaguar spirit. Pretty amazing stuff. More remarkable, Chris Fisher, the lead U.S. archaeologist on the team, said that by all appearances, no human had set foot in this remote jungle in the valley of La Mosquitia for at least 600 years.
So this is the depiction right here in this far left corner. If y'all can see, that's the depiction of what this ruined plaza would have looked like.
Years. In fact, it was found originally during an aerial survey in 2012. In 2012, the data was revealed by surveying technology called LIDAR, which projects a grid of infrared beams powerful enough to break through the dense forest canopy. This is incredibly cool stuff. And the inner nerd in me, or maybe it's just the nerd in me in general, gets really excited about this, right? Lost kingdoms and society.
You know, them honkies gonna make it seem like it ain't our ancestors. They gonna make it goofy, but you gotta dodge the hijack, like the brother Corey Mills said.
Structures, but also featuring things much like an English
Yes,
garden.
spoke him up.
So you would right at home in the jungles of Honduras. There were gardens and fields with crops, roads, and paths.
Wow,
Pretty
this
amazing.
this really, really is incredible. It goes to show what we know. We really think we've discovered everything there is to discover, and it just goes to show that we can discover new animals now, new environmental species, new ecosystems, and right here in Honduras. I mean, wasn't there a discovery of a jawbone this week?
Absolutely.
That was the oldest Homo sapien jawbone that's rejigging when we.
Now, that's key. They also found the jawbone that they speculating with the carbon dating proves that it's the oldest Homo sapien bone found on the man. I mean, whoa, what can we say? I don't know what happened, y'all. I apologize.
Thought the Homo sapiens
Exactly.
came in. So you discovered technology
Yeah,
helping to discover this?
the technology is unbelievable, right? I mean, it's revealed again this entire potentially an entire community or culture that we didn't necessarily know existed. In this rainforest valley, they said that they found structural foundations of two cities that actually mirrored what people thought about the Mayans, though these were not Mayan people, and they seem to be pretty sure of that. Back to between 1000 AD and 1400 AD. Little is known, though, of course, of the site. They did not have the permit to excavate. They only had the permission to go in to do some studies, to remove some artifacts, but not to excavate, to really get into it, to remove actual soil to find some of these homes, etc.
Well, I'm happy about that. You have to be really careful when you're looking at new territories. There were recently indigenous tribes discovered in the Amazon that hadn't been touched or seen before. And I remember even seeing footage of a plane going overhead and filming them. And these people had never seen a plane before. And they were literally terrified, it looked like. So you really have to be careful when you put the spotlight in these areas and when you start taking bits of soil and artifacts to do investigations on, just how much you're interfering with this beautifully untouched landscape.
Absolutely. I mean, no question. And I think they are being really careful. It does seem, at least, these scientists are.
They ain't being careful. They probably stealing our artifacts.
Holes, intricate carvings, etc. So we would certainly not want them to be touched. Something that you mentioned, sort of being so about the discovery, right? There is some concern. This area in Honduras is actually very close to a lot of deforestation that is taking place. And so there is real concern that this untouched land and other perhaps areas much like it may be affected by deforestation. And obviously people are saying we're going to remove forests for what? For a burger, for some paper or whatnot. It seems quite scary when you consider how much richness and history is involved in an area like this that's been 600 years.
Well, you would hope that now there's awareness
Yeah.
of these lost cities, that the deforestation will be kept away from these lands, and perhaps if there wasn't awareness of these cities, the deforestation may have spilled over into these areas. So
And
it
it-
would help that this could actually benefit the situation.
I think that is a great point. That maybe by highlighting it, it won't allow the companies to overtake this land, and it will remain protected. Something that I thought was interesting was Mr. Fisher said regarding the animals there. He said, "quote, even the animals acted as if they've never seen people."
I mean, so just with that, I just wanted to play that little small clip. It just shows you how much extraordinary finds that once we take our time and comb over some of these artifacts and some of these landscapes that's covered up by jungle that you might think is only mountain and forest regions, we just got to take our time with it, because 9 times out of 10 there was a civilization there. There was people there. There was science being implemented there. So that's something that we always got to keep in mind as we keep combing through this information. So it's a powerful thing, man. So what you think about that, Corey Mayo? That's right around your neck of the woods. You know, probably just a hop, skip, and a leap away, brother. I don't know if you hear me or not.
Yeah, yeah. Peace, everyone. Yeah, man. It's like I said before. With this lighter technology and stuff. I mean, they knew why they made it. I mean, that's what they're looking for. They're gonna start finding all kinds of things all over Central America and South America. Yeah, the mosquito jungle. That whole place is really huge, man. Most of it's in Nicaragua. It goes all the way down to Costa Rica. And that whole area is impenetrable. Like it's all thick jungle. They've never been in there, and they've always been looking for it. Actually, this city, I think the first person that they mentioned that talks about it, a lost city in there, was Cortez, but he never made his way in there. But that was like in 1526, and yeah, they've been looking for a city in there for the longest time. It was like a legendary city. So with all this technology they have, they can see the pyramids and all that. And it's interesting because I didn't know until you told me just now. So I mean, this is all. It's not new. It's new to us, but they've been looking for these cities. They know it's in there. They know it's all in there. And we got a lot to go to discover. Trust me. And yeah, man. It's
Right. So I want to talk about it. Let's have a dialogue about this a little bit. Well, they said they discovered this. They said it had been abandoned for 600 years, built roughly about 14 uh, BC, which will give you a little bit over 3,000 years, right? They say these people are not Mayan. Uh, Perhaps maybe you know who these people might could be, maybe.
Well, I mean, this whole area, like I said, that whole area covers Nicaragua. I mean, some of the first tribes they encountered in the mainland. I mean, when the first Europeans, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the first mainland they reached when they got to the Americas was like here in Central America. Was like this whole region: Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and that was the first mainland they reached, and they were encountering all these tribes that they're finding all these cities now. And one of them was the Amerique. The American is written in like 1496 or 98. That word was taken back, and that's where the first or related word or something called close to America is brought to light to everybody. So yeah, I mean it's a historic place. It's deep because we got the Caribbean right there, and there's a lot of influence of the Caribs, the Arawaks here, for centuries as well, for a long time.
Mm. So perhaps that could be, amalgamation of Arawaks, Olmecs, pre-Mayan, right? Uh, I mean, damn, and this information is really getting thick, man. Like I said, it only takes for people to bring up the question, what if it was, or maybe it is, and then the equipment that's out now, like they said, the technology of LADAR testing, which is pretty much geographical X-ray. Uh, so it with that alone, just within the last couple years, just within right up under a decade, we don't found so much different information that is really rewriting history as we go. So what you got up right? You want to talk about that picture you got up right quick?
I'm just showing some of the pics from National Geographic when they went there. They're talking about how thick it is, and how they started finding the pottery and everything. They basically saw first that there was pyramids in a city there because of the LiDAR technology, so they went to look for it. That's how they're doing it now. So they're basically find. They actually found a jaguar mask. That's what I was looking for. So I can show everybody. But they found like a jaguar mask. It looks just like the Black Panther mask from the movie. But I don't know where I saw it earlier. Let's look for it. But yeah, they're gonna just keep finding things here, and like Chief was saying, man, earlier. I mean, when you're talking about old world, you're talking about ancient Egypt and all that. Um, you know, we start finding out that these guys, they rep Greek fraternities and all that. And where does all these words come from? Like Egypt, Ethiopia. I mean, those are all Greek words. You know what I mean? So they're saying like, oh, we don't like Greek. We got to change it to the Greek letters to African and all this stuff. And but but they're playing smart. You know, they're conning you. You gotta see that. You know, they know what's up. They're
Right.
scared the way they talk and how they distract you with certain words. And so you could avoid stuff like this. Like this is going on right now. They're discovering so many things right now in America, but this doesn't make the mainstream news. You know.
Right.
But yeah, it's
Right.
just,
And that's what they want, man. They want that shit to be here. They trying to take all this information and hide it and plant their seeds of false information so it can implement with the story that they've been trying to keep up with, right? Which is that we ain't had shit here. These people was hunter and gatherers. They had no science at all to be able to accomplish the things that has been accomplished throughout the Americas. So it's really up to us to keep doing what we need to do.
yeah.
It really is, man. That's why I say people can't take it for granted, man. We appreciate the work that you put in as well, Corey Mayo. You do a wonderful job, combing through this information and making the link, filling in the blanks to some of this shit that we ain't privy to, especially some of these Spanish documents. That's probably hard for most of us, so-called American Negroes to read. So we gotta really give you thanks for that, brother. We appreciate that as
Uh,
well.
that's just doing my
Yo,
part. You gotta just everybody gotta just put value with value. That's all we gotta all do. This
that's
is
right. Hey, I got a quick question though too, right? They said that this city was abandoned over 600 years ago, so that was prior to the Europeans and incursion. So, Chris Mayo, can you please tell the people what they described the people as, what they called the people when they got there?
well, and especially in these areas, they were really well. There's an account of them being as dark, just like an Ethiopian, or copper colored, or black, just like the blacks or Moors or black Moors in Africa. Balboa, the
So
account of
they,
Balboa in Panama and Costa Rica.
Negro del Terra, that would be another word.
Yeah,
Ne- Negro del Terra.
yeah. Loro, they call them Loro mulattoes. Pardos. These are all terms they use for dark-skinned people. I mean, this is not too far from Guatemala. This is not too far from the Mayas, the Bonampak, and the Olmecs. I mean, this is all still Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica goes all the way from Mexico all the way to like Costa Rica.
Right, right, which is a large part of the South America region, right, which is Mesoamerica,
Yeah.
according to scientists that has been combing through the western side, such as Egypt and Mesopotamia, has now came and been doing research here only to prove that Mesoamerica predates Mesopotamia, which is the cradle of civilization, right? Uh, so if we got artifacts, civilization, and science that predates Mesopotamia, which is the cradle of life, then it's safe to say that the cradle of life cannot be in Mesopotamia, right?
Yeah, I found the mask. It says here among the artifacts found is a carved face, part jaguar, part human, about the size of a fist. Excavation of the site could provide clues to an ancient culture so little known it has no name. All right, so this whole, if you know the Black Panther story, he's half, panther, half human, right? Or the powers, right? What the whole character represents. Panther's not a real animal; it just means big cat. The biggest cats in America are jaguars, and actually, the melanin, the black coat, is dominant amongst the jaguars. It actually is passed down to all the rest of the cats from jaguars. So it's original from here, the black coat. So where do we find people like a jaguar, having jaguar customs, being jaguar warriors, jaguar priests, shaman, wear jaguars, turning, having powers, supernatural powers? That's all from here.
Right, right. And it's funny that they call them the monkey guys, but they got this jaguar half human spirit thing going on. And if we just to take a quick glimpse back door references with the Snake Kings, right? With Dark Hearted Jaguar, Fiery Paul Jaguar Temple, right? They also give reference to prior civilization before them that they try to mirror and they also revered. Possibly could this be the civilization that they referred and revered? That's a
Yeah, this could be
question
so
that
many.
we have.
This is the true old world, man. There could be so many different peoples, you know. But what we're discovering is that there was millions of people over here, and there was thousands and thousands of cities all over, even in these jungle places where they thought it was basically impossible. They're saying that these people cleared, like right here in this specific city, they cleared an area in the middle of the jungle, and they turned it into a Garden of Eden. That's how the scientists described it. That archaeologists that have found
Play that, play it for the peoples. Let's give them a
it.
little sneak peek.
Oh well, this is not it, but I can play this one. I was in audio I was listening to earlier. Let me go to the audio so you can see what I'm talking about.
All righty.
Yeah, you can talk in the meantime.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, that's why important for us to keep a hold of this information. And when we go live, just write down a couple key notes. It ain't got to be the whole segment. You can just briefly write down Lost City, found in Honduras. Boom, research. Go do your own research. You'll implement and see what we're talking about because it's been over 22 years of searching for this legendary city. And like I said, these people found it and it was left preserved, naturally preserved by the jungles that it was in, that it hadn't even been touched for 600 years, right? Mainly because, like the brother said, them jungles is too thick. They got mangrove, they got bamboo growing and all different. It's just a horrible walk, expecting to go for hundreds of miles in to find the city. So
On the audio, if you wanna.
yeah, go ahead. You turned up.
In Honduras. For you or me, it would seem impenetrable, layer upon layer of jungle growing over everything. But that didn't stop a group of archaeologists from venturing there in search of a place known as the Lost City of the Monkey God. Journalist Douglas Preston was part of the expedition. He's now co-written a book about it, and there's an excerpt in the latest issue of The New Yorker. Here's Preston reading from that.
As we moved through the jungle, we could see nothing but leaves until we practically walked into it. We had to win every foot by machete. Our blades marked the stripes of pink day-glow tape so we could avoid one another's slashing strokes cutting through the vegetation. Even so, we had some close calls.
Douglas Preston joins us. So tell us, what is the Lost City of the Monkey God?
Well, it's a large ruin about a mile square that was discovered in an isolated valley in the middle of the Mosquitia Mountains of Honduras. And in these mountain chains, there's some valleys here and there that are so difficult to get to and so dangerous that they've never been scientifically explored.
What would be the risks if a scientist were to go into those jungles?
Well, the jungle is full of poisonous snakes, insects carrying tropical disease, quick mud, torrents, jaguars roaming about. I mean, it is really, really tough country.
Yeah, so how did you get in yourself, find the Lost City, and then get out in one piece?
Well, the city was discovered through a LiDAR survey, which is a very high technology that can actually peer through the densest jungle. It was discovered in 2012, but it wasn't until 2015 that we went in there on a ground expedition, actually by helicopter, with the Honduran military and an American team. They dropped some soldiers who cut a small landing zone. We landed the helicopter, and we made a very primitive camp in the jungle. Then the next day, we slashed our way with machetes through the jungle up into the ruins.
Yeah, I mean, as if the LiDAR map of this ancient city wasn't enough, then you've written about chancing upon some stone carvings on the ground, including one of a jaguar head. Tell us about that moment and what went through your head then.
It was the second day we were exploring the city, and there's this large earthen pyramid. And to be honest with you, you couldn't see anything. If this jungle were put down in Times Square and you were put in the middle of it, you wouldn't know you were in the city. It was so thick. But we were walking past the base of this pyramid, and a shout went up. wait, there's some weird stones over here. We all rushed over, and the first thing I saw was this jaguar head, snarling, amazing sculpture coming out of the ground, almost with incredible energy and force. And I saw that and I thought, wow, what a connection to these ancient people. And before that, it had just been all theoretical. But now I suddenly realized, wow, the people who created this were truly amazing artists. I mean, this was an image of great power.
Yeah, so extend that whole idea of what life was like on the ground for the people who lived here. I mean, what should we know about this culture that occupied the city and their way of life?
It's a very mysterious culture. They lived on the Maya frontier, and they adopted many of the aspects of Maya culture, like the ball game. They built pyramids. They laid their cities out like the Maya. But we think that they spoke a different language and actually were in opposition to the Maya. They may have even they certainly traded with the Maya, but they also may have engaged in warfare with the Maya. So when the Maya collapse occurred, the famous collapse around 900, this culture suddenly had a huge flowering, and they built these great cities all through the jungle. And they actually transformed the jungle, this very hostile jungle, almost into a Garden of Eden. You know, they cleared large areas, they built beautiful ceremonial architecture. They had open areas and plazas where people could work and congregate. I mean, they literally transformed the jungle into something wonderful and livable. And then 500 years ago, they vanished very abruptly and very mysteriously.
Is there some tipping point, and is the arrival of outsiders the tipping point?
Well, that was the tipping point, and it wasn't the conquest by human beings that did it. It was the conquest by pathogens. Something like 90% of the inhabitants of the New World died because of European disease, especially smallpox and measles. It was probably the greatest disaster ever to befall the human species. So that's what happened to these civilizations in the Amazon and probably in Muskedia, is that they weren't conquered by Europeans, they were wiped out by European disease.
Well, The Lost City of the Monkey God has just come out. Do you think there is a movie script in this story?
I don't know. I mean, it's incredible to think that in the 21st century you could still find a great lost city somewhere on the surface of the earth. This sounds like a movie to me.
Douglas Preston, co-author of the new book, The Lost City of the Monkey God, A True Story.
Yeah. So that's, how they talk about it, all excited and stuff.
Man.
That dude Preston, I think he's at Mirador too. He's the one in charge over there, and I don't trust him. You know what I mean? Like, it's dangerous. Don't go in there. Like, it's like they send agents out there. These same people, same dudes, sending them to these same places.
Who was the leading guy over this site?
Oh, I think it's this dude that was just talking, the Preston guy.
Oh, Preston. I think the leading archaeologist on the site is Richard Hansen. I believe he's been there for a while.
Oh yeah, Hansen. Yeah, and Mirador.
Yeah, El Mirador. He done built up some good reputation in the neighborhood out there. I got another video I'm gonna briefly show with you guys real quick. Shit.
So Jack,
hold on.
coming out of the ground, like Troy's saying.
Right.
Imagine what else is in there.
Hell yeah, they probably found a real Black Panther suit. Goddamn.
Yeah, come on. Wakanda, man. Where is the real Wakanda, man? That's a native or American native word.
Right. That they don't even want to tell you about.
This whole area is not too far from, like the other areas in Guatemala where they have like the Huaca or El Huaca. El Peru, it's called El Peru, but it used to be called El Huaca. It's another site that they're digging up. It's near Mirador and all that.
Yeah, man, this is what Kong Island talking about. You see what I'm saying? The monkey guys.
Region of the Gracias a Dios department in eastern Honduras. The extensive area of rainforest, which includes the Rio Platano Biosphere Reserve, has long been the subject of multidisciplinary research. Archaeologists refer to it as being part of the Istmo-Columbian era. of what Fisher speculated might be a later jaguar, possibly depicting a shaman in the transformed spirit state. Alternatively, the artifact might be related to ritualized ball games that were a feature of pre-Columbian life in Mesoamerica. Fisher and his team believe the site and artifacts date back to 1,000 to 1,400 years ago.
So yeah, that's just another brief video, man. I mean, the information's out there. I mean, what can we say? We finding stuff all over the United States, all over the Americas, only to prove that our people was here implementing on one of the largest scales that you can find. I mean, so what more do we got to do to keep showing you guys that that's just what we do? You know, this is, I mean, it's really mind blowing to show how so many lost civilizations with the magnitude of science is fucking covered up in our jungle and nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about it. But the indigenous people, right? The real indigenous people telling you, look, this shit up in them jungles, civilizations that our peoples come from. They don't believe it. They call it folklore or rumor, right? So this old tradition ain't even credible only until these European colonists come over here and find it and taking out all our artifacts. You see what I'm saying? It's going to take for us to get this equipment and get our boots on the ground and start finding these damn sites ourselves. Start combing through this evidence ourselves. Shit, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
So, peace, bro. Peace, brother. Thompson, it's one good to have you on the panel, big bro.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, man, it's good that you bring this up all the time. Remind us, you know, what's over here, what's going on. People get sidetracked. You know, the news is controlled, and you know they got stuff on the news for you to keep yourself entertained and keep you all frightened and state of fear and shock and all that. And so, yeah, there's other things going on too at the same time. Yeah, we got a hurricane. You know, hopefully everybody will be okay, and then you know take care of yourself. But you know, there's other things going on in the world too. That they don't want us to focus on, and that's what we need to put our energy on. You know, really, we got to stop paying attention to the negative people, the people just trying to be distractions, the people who call, you know, archaeological and scientific research pseudo, because they're just agents. You know, you got to see that right away. They're just agents. You know, just throwing words at you, it's just spells. That's just like television. So they're just programming you, and you know you're falling for it, and then you're just saying the same thing. You're repeating what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. All you doing is feeding somebody else throw up, some shit that you don't heard regurgitated. And guess what? Throw up does not taste good, brothers. As well, deal. Peace and tensions. One, what's going on, bro?
Go ahead.
My bad. I was just giving
You good? Peace, man. Peace to everybody on the panel, man. Peace. What's up, Corremio?
Peace.
I mean Cormeo. How do you pronounce your name, man? How do you pronounce it?
Don't worry, man. But it's Curimeo.
Cormeo. All right, I got you. Cormeo. Now I'd rather pronounce it the way you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's all good.
What's good, my brother?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, man. I was gonna tell you
this discovery.
Peace, Steve. Peace, Steve.
What it do, bro?
I'm coolin', man. How you?
Oh, shit. Chilling like a fat cat.
Bro, there's a couple of different articles on this too, man. I mean, definitely next time you do something like this, man, you know, pull like a couple of different articles. I just checked it out, and it's like it's one national.
I went through three. I went through one on CNN, one on National Geographic, and we went through a couple of.
I'm late to the party. My bad. I'm late then. My bad. And upstairs. Sorry about that.
I've read a couple they're not really,
you good?
they're not really saying much. They're holding a lot of information. You know, they're not really saying. They don't really know. Really, they don't, or they just hide it. But they're just at the beginning of letting their information become known. Because on these articles, they're mentioning and everything, and they're trying to associate it to legendary tales, and they're just gonna keep saying mystery, though. You know, that's how you have to say mystery, and they're gonna keep saying that the people vanished, but they're just talking about you. You know what I mean? Your ancestors, everybody. You know,
Smallpox killed everybody. It's the greatest catastrophe ever. Where are the bones?
Yeah.
Where's proof of these smallpox? Please show them.
Yeah.
Show me where you put the blanket at, please. They're liars, man. That's the worst shit ever. But see, but people be like, oh, you can't use their stuff. No, we know how to discern
dodge the
real information and take it out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and not eat nobody's throw up. You know what I mean? So yeah, you have to know that when you hear these fools talk about these plagues killed us, we were the medicine men. Shout out to medicine man. You know what I'm saying? How the hell we die from disease when we cured everybody? We gave niggas medicines all around the world. So
right,
yeah. So it's just another story for them to always, or you know, even if they was Negroes, they're not there no more. Because smallpox killed. What about all the Negroes that's there right now? That said they've been there forever. They ain't never came there. What about them? See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's in Nicaragua and Honduras right now. Yep. And if you see somebody light skinned there, goddamn it, he's mixed with the European. He didn't get there. He didn't get light skinned. Because the sun made him light, or the UV rays made him light skinned. Dumbasses. See, this is what we be talking about right here, right? Just because a motherfucker went to their universities and got a PhD behind his name, don't make him he 99.9% of the time, that nigga's the goddamn enemy. He ain't on our side. From go.
Yep.
Shit. From go. He might not even know it. He got an education from them. He got the best education from them because he got a doctorate. See how that work?
Yep. And then
he's been trained. He's been trained the best. If the education process is the worst, and we're telling to take our children out of their schools, that means their universities too. See how that work? We ain't just take them out of the elementary and then goddamn it send them to the universities. That don't make sense. So we got to start our own motherfucking university. That's the fucking problem, man. And we don't have to do the shit the way, man, it's crazy to me, bro. How we move, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We are the Americans. This is our shit. So they've been lying the whole time, man. We've been America. We've been had this shit popping. That's why they came over into and usurped it and tricked us. Yeah. They ain't take shit. They ain't beat nobody ever. And they definitely ain't enslaved us. God damn it. That's a goddamn lie. And I'm going to stand on it. And until you Dr. Issa ass niggas prove me wrong, God damn it, I'm going to stand on it.
Dang.
Prove me right. Prove me wrong. That's what you do. How about that?
Dang. That's all they do.
Yeah.
I'm going in on Jabari tomorrow. So don't worry about it. I'm going to take him back to the school. Real university. God damn it. Not Cornell. Not corny university.
Right. These are the same dudes that keep saying dang, crediting his information, talking about the plagiarists, talking about the false information that's been implemented. But yet, you still bring up comic books and Alex Haley to prove the Out of Africa theory, Jabari. It doesn't make any sense. You see? This is the information that we're implementing, man. So I just want to be able to show y'all that it's probably more structures than our mind can even fathom that we got in the Americas, man. It's covered up by jungle, hidden by what we think is mountains and other things, man.
It's vast, man. So this is, I guess, them going to the place and trying to penetrate and all that, I guess. But yeah, it's vast. It's vast.
And to the brother on the panel, NBK, I don't know who you are, but if you want to join the panel, you're more than welcome to come on and I like to see this pseudo information that you teaching this out of Africa, like, the Frank Boaz. I want to hear your grandfather's information right quick. So if you want to get on, I can shoot you the link, brother. You just give me the word. Give me the thumbs up.
Go to the classroom and go learn, plenty of classrooms available now.
And this is the thing. And this is the thing with these Pan Africans. They do a lot of talking. They regurgitate Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Sertima, Sheikh Anta Diop, but they fail to show any sources or where they got. Because soon as they start showing that shit, it's not going to look right. You're going to see an agenda being pushed. Man. Anybody that's telling you that 90% of the damn so-called American Negro come from Africa, they got an agenda of push, man. But we ain't no damn Africans.
Yeah, they spend more time refuting the information than researching it. They look for anything that say African in it, anything that say once they see something that say African in it, that's it. Then they automatically assume, this is. I'm really tired. I wish they would just go ahead and just keep bullshit they teaching, because obviously the people are starting to ask questions. Well, what's going on with them Aboriginal brothers or whatever? Because them brothers are starting to people stop believing y'all, man. And it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot for a person to show you that the stuff y'all talking about is ancient. Like I said, Sheikh Anta Diop was taught by white people, man, and he was the main one that everybody followed. He was a follower of Pan-African and Egyptology, man. He was the father of it. And where did he learn his information from? He ain't learning from another African or black African. No, he learned it from Europeans.
What is
Egypt?
What is Egypt? The word, that's all Greek words. That's why I don't understand what they're.
They don't even know the real word. And then if you tell them the real word, they still ain't gonna use. They still calling the term ain't even. But because it's a more popular word, you're going with the more colonial colonization word, and that's the thing. We all do it because we all use words of what colonization use, and we all speak in English. So I guess at some point in time we gotta use these certain words. But at the end of the day, man, if you're able to track back, like you said, and know that the word, I don't really. Some people call Egypt Kemet. Some people call it. I don't know. I don't really know too many different synonyms for the word Egypt. But I can tell you one thing, that a lot of people reference this to be lower or upper Egypt over here. So, when they don't even know, and that's the problem. And I don't even feel bad for them, because we've been telling you all this time, and you just been ignorant to the fact of what we've been telling these jokers. And these jokers spent all the time trying to debate us. We had African. No, and that's the thing. I keep telling y'all idiots. The word Negro and African is not the same. Because you see the word Negro, it doesn't mean it's an African. And that's what they play on. They try to play on the fact that anytime they see that word Negro or see the word slave, that's an African. That's an African. They automatically assume responsibility that these are Africans. And they don't even know.
And that's the same thing that they're talking to the bro Dane about, because they say he take the word native and swap it out with Aborigine. Well, it ain't no difference. Right. And it ain't no difference. These guys.
Ain't nothing worse than having your mind colonized, though, right? But check this out, right? I was gonna go into one of their. Here's the crazy part, right? We could take their information and just would scholastically debunk it, right, in real time. But these fools did a video, right? MBK, shout out to MBK though, and they said that in Spanish, bro. Listen, y'all. They said, well, they showed a depiction of the Aboriginals, right? The people there had took a picture of a scene of some people gardening, right? Or growing some shit, and, using their hoes and shit like that, right? And some of them, one of them was darker, like super dark, right? And then the other one was a couple, it was like three of them, and the other two were lighter. And they said right here is a depiction of a free African that was brought by the Spanish. I said, yo, man, this shit is crazy as hell.
Bro, you know
what I'm saying? Like, it's just debunked all the way around the board. You got some people that you got the painting of some Aborigines from back in those days. Really? I mean, come on, cuz. So the Spanish brought some free Africans. They went to Africa and got some free Africans and brought them over here. So it wasn't no Aborigine Europeans that came over here, fools. Like this is what I be talking about, man. They just talk. They don't have nothing to back up nothing that they're saying, man. It's like they go out of their way to try to justify Zionism and justify all the things that they're trying to. Pan-African stuff is fucked up. And even if I was dead center in the middle of Pan-Africanism right now, right? I'm not gonna sit there and refute all this goddamn evidence that everybody been showing these guys. Like you just gonna just ignore that, right? I just think that's crazy, yo. I really do. Like what we're looking at is cognitive dissonance on a mass level. I don't really give a goddamn. If your grandmama told you, and then you got niggas running around here in their 60s talking this Pan-African shit, and when they know their grandmama, come on, cuz. Like they mama, they know good and goddamn well they dead wrong for this, and then they're gonna still stand on DNA tests to use as their genealogy. I think that's crazy. I really do.
Mm-hmm. How old is it? How old is it? I mean, you know what though, Chief? We need to stop wasting so much time on them teaching, bro. Because they really, to me, they're irrelevant. I'm gonna keep teaching. I ain't got like really because we didn't put too much information out there, man. And if these guys can't comprehend, they didn't bring. Why would they waste their time to bring any African here when they telling if they kept us slave, or according to the story how it goes all the way up until 1865, why would any African be free, you dummy? When you see any free man, that was obviously an Aborigine. That wasn't nobody bought from it. You think somebody gonna waste their time and waste their money to bring somebody over here and let them cut them loose? We know that they wasn't escaping because the ones that was escaping and was leaving was most of the Aborigines. So like, listen, these niggas is slow. They don't get it, and it's like really, I don't really want to bring these niggas up in my, because these jokers don't even get no views on their channel, so I don't even want to bring them up. Garfield, 5-foot troll ass or whatever, he going on a crusade to try to get Dan Holloway to talk to him. Nobody wants to talk to you. Go back to Jamaica, go set some people free over there, and stop coming over here telling us what the fuck we are. And that's the problem. Motherfuckers always. I'm sorry, go ahead. What I
was just gonna say, I know a lot of Jamaicans, and I mean, most of the ones I know, they ain't talking about no African stuff, man. But they gonna chase his ass up out of there. That's the reason why he come over here, because most of our people over here lost. They don't know who the hell they is. They run around here trying to be Queen Tut, King Tut, Nefertiti, Cleopatra. They don't even fucking know. We lost. All the Greek gods.
Yeah, but that's you know what though? But that's why people flock to come over here, because they come over here and say, "Well, damn, we got them over here. We can come over here and sell them." And that's why Polite is over here scamming most of the people, because if motherfuckers ain't know, they ain't see him coming a mile away to see he's an African. So you fell for all the tricks in the book. You let them scam you because you thought you was an African. If you was an Aborigine, a brother like Polite would be. He would be nondescript, because he wouldn't have nothing to offer you, because you would already know who you are. So when you see a nigga with intake cloths, with the fucking headdress and the fucking long African garbs and shit like that, we'd be laughing at them, or we'd be saluting them like, "What's up, brother?" But nah, I'm not an African. You already know who you are. So let these niggas keep on pressing us, keep on trying to convince us. But we know we gonna keep waking up the people.
It ain't no damn convincing us, man. Listen, half of these guys like to direct you from Africa. You like, damn, brother, what part of Africa you from? Oh, we from western parts of Africa. We don't know what part. We just know we from the western parts of Africa. Damn, ain't that ironic? You from a part of Africa that has nothing, no monumental structures, no written language, no nothing.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't know. They don't know. What in West Africa? How long is the language in West Africa? We know you ain't Nigerian. Talking about Igbo and all these other tribes, Yorubia and Fulani and all these different tribes or whatever. Come on, man. And then people sit there and talk about it's the same amount of Negroes in South America, in Central America, and in North America as there is in Africa, because everybody in Africa is not a fucking dark black African. So understand that everybody is not. You got so many different races of people. I mean, so many different color and creeds of people in Africa. You have the same diversity of people. And I'm not saying when I say diversity of people, I'm not talking about the people who came here from other continents, such as China, the Europeans, such as India and Africa. We talking about indigenous people, along with, you know, the same way some of our people in here was raped by white people, and we created like the people, the same way that happened in Central and South America. So when the same way you go to Africa and you see different people, you see Arabs in Africa, you see a lot of different different so-called phenotypes in Africa. The same diversity you have here. I'm quite sure, like I said, I've been doing the numbers, bro. If you got, see, in Brazil, so they don't tell you in Brazil, there's almost 300 million people there. And they say out of 300 million people, 52% identify as black. So that tells you right there, that's 150 million, right? It's about 160, 170 million people there alone that identify as black. Then when you go in Colombia said they have it's more black people in Colombia than it's supposedly being North America. So if you telling me, so what is that, another 100,000? Or another 80-something thousand with the people we got here, with the people in Honduras, with the people in the Caribbean, all the islands, as far as Canada and all that. We got about half a billion people here. Half a billion so-called Aborigines, with our brothers and sisters, like I said, that have been raped by the Spaniards. So we gotta really look at it. And another thing like this, right? If Africa is so rich and populated, why is they coming here? Why they not going over there? Why they not going over there? And why you niggas who keep saying you African not going over there? If you've been oppressed so much, you see they killing and shooting us down over here, won't you take your ass back over there? Because you know what? Because them civil wars they be having in Africa ain't no motherfucking joke. And all Africans don't get along. The same way we run around here pan-African, you go over Africa like that, they'll laugh at your dumb ass and chop your ass up and put you in the stew. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, I'm telling you.
I wanted to show an example. I just wanted to show an example of what I do every day. And I mean, every day I find a new source, a new book, just correlating to what we're finding out, you know, these last couple of months and years. And for example, I just ran into this book. I was reading another book which I have. It's called Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, and I was talking about how in America there was dark races here, and it mentions this other book. So I looked for it. It's called The North Americans of Antiquity: The Origin, Migrations, and Type of Civilizations Considered. And this is written by this guy John Short, but he's actually writing about Heward Bancroft's work. So this is from the Bancroft Library. Bancroft was a famous anthropologist, archaeologist, and he has a lot of books called The Native Races of the Pacific U.S. And he talks a lot about their complexion, and that was on part 2 of my videos on indigenous. You can go check it out, MBK Life, if you want. Go debunk that, and you can come back, you know, a week later, because there's a lot of hours there of correlation. But I just wanted to show this. Going right to this page here, it says, let me see, 190. It says, the builders of the great remains in southern Mexico and Yucatan belong to 2 different branches of the human family, a light-skinned and a dark-skinned race, respectively. All right, hold on, I saw something else. Hold on. All right, it says here, almost every shade from the ash color of the Menominis through the cinnamon red, copper, and bronze tints may be found among the tribes formerly occupying the territory east of the Mississippi, the remnants of some of which are now in the Indian Territory and others in the Northwest, until we reach the dark-skinned Kaws, or Kansas, who are nearly as black as the Negro. What does that mean? The Indians in Mexico are known as the black people. Again, the Indians in Mexico are known as the black people, an appellation designed to be descriptive of their color. All right, so then in the footnote, it says down here that it will be easy to prove that the American races, instead of displaying a uniformity of color in all climates, show nearly as great a variety in this respect as the nations of the old continent. That there are among them white races with a florid complexion, and they don't mean like Europeans, they just mean a light-skinned, lighter-skinned person. and then it says inhabiting temperate regions and tribes black or of very dark hue and low and intertropical countries, that their stature, figure, and continents are almost equally diversified. Right? So, you know, that's just one little source I just found. I have over 500 PDFs for NBA K Live if you want them, that are all saying the same thing.
They ain't gonna believe it though. You know why? Because they gonna sit there. They gonna corrupt what the word black means. They gonna say, oh, well, all black people ain't like the ones in Africa, but all the ones in Africa ain't the same thing. So you got your own story to deal with over there, because over there is just as big as a mystery as it is over here. Because like you said, even when you read that right there, did you get the PDF to the history of Tennessee? Because that's a damn good bill right there. I don't know if you gotta get that one. You gotta get that one, bro. Because that one.
The title of this show was for the new city they found of the monkey god, right? So it has nothing to do about not being African. I mean, so your whole approach to this is you're the problem. You're the static. You just come in here with static, with your opinions and the way you perceive things. Nobody is talking about not being African. We were starting with, you know, showing the ancient city that has been found here, and now we're just correlating information. We got to remind everyone who we're talking about when we're talking about ancient cities and all these pyramids. We're talking about the so-called Negro that has always been here.
And see, that's the thing. They don't want to hear that, and then like Medicine Man was saying, the people of Nigeria, because Nigeria was colonized by the Dutch, and they tell you that the Dutch was already in Brazil. Then what he was saying about a lot of people over here, it came from Brazil. They don't even know it. They don't even know it. And that's the thing, like, where's the structures at over there, man? Show me something of antiquity. They can't show you none of antiquity, because all the antiquity is over here. And then the only antiquity that they do have in Africa is motherfucking in Sudan and Egypt. And then you tell them about South Africa. What do South Africa got? What structure do they have in South Africa? I mean, I didn't heard well bone found in the desert, but you're going to have to go a little better than that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I mean, not only that, man. I mean, if these people had invented what they say they did, right? The Garden of Eden, science, why ain't it been implemented still to this day by every single culture in Africa, such as irrigation? That's one of the things that we see less implemented in Africa. That's part of the reason y'all starving, because of that. So I mean, look over here in America, man. This is the cradle of civilization, man. Y'all don't even predate Mesopotamia. I'm talking about Africa. This dealing with your Afrocentric theory, which is the Nile Valley science. Doesn't even predate Mesopotamia, but yet we got artifacts in Mesoamerica that predates all those. But yet we're not getting brought up in the conversation though about cradle of civilization.
Because they're gonna try to corrupt it. Because they're gonna try to correct it and then bend what we got. Like, that's why sometimes it's not even really worth proving nothing to them. Y'all niggas ain't worth proving nothing to, because y'all niggas are still on first. We got a doctrine in this shit. You motherfuckers is still on the middle grade level. Okay, we got doctrines and master degrees in American Aborigine information. You motherfuckers is still like in the 6th grade, and you is in the 6th grade slow class with the dunce hat. You ain't even in the advanced class, bro. Because you gotta look at it, man. You gotta have to look at it, bro. If you niggas can't catch on, we show you images, the anthropology, but you niggas just debate everything we put out there. You got an answer to everything, and none of you niggas are anthropologists. None of you archaeologists. None of you niggas are even doctors. None of you niggas probably even got a master's degree. But yet you can debate so-called people, and then what you say is, them Europeans. But guess what though? We gotta take something that these Europeans give us, because a lot of this shit come from the Europeans. And when it be like, we got them. But you can't be like, all right, when they tell the truth and say, they was lying about this. There's a agenda why they put us over in Africa. There's an agenda over there. And why they want everybody to come here, and why they had motherfuckers like Marcus Garvey come here and try to send us back over there. Everybody look at Marcus Garvey like he was a champion. Oh, he trying to get you to move over there. Nah, it was a reason why he was doing that. And he went through a lot of these Masonic schools. So you think that they put his ass, they took him to school, they gave him, honestly, if you look at him, you can tell like he had money. He wasn't living in poverty. And it wasn't because of all other black people was giving him money. He had them Jews, and he had Masonic people behind him.
Right.
Because he had to have Masonic people. When you see Garvey had money. So where he get money from? Oh, other Negroes, get the fuck. He got money because he cut a deal with some of the motherfuckers over there, come over here and sell us out. Because Garvey was over in London.
Yep.
So why he ain't go back to Jamaica for? Because he was in the Caribbean, and they said that he had killed one of the ladies over there in the Caribbean for some reason. I don't know why, or one of the ladies ended up dead or some shit or whatever though. But he made his way to North America, and when he made his, you think that he put money together to get a motherfucking Starship liner? Are you serious? And then and then at the end of all that, they still got his ass, still deporting him. Because he ain't do something that the people told him to do. They could have got him anytime they wanted to get him. But then his whole plan was to get us to go back over there because they knew as long as we was going to be over here, we was going to be fighting for our shit. And that's the reason why they came back with this shit in the 1960s. Because a lot of people prior to 1940s, they didn't really know about none of this shit. That Afrocentric shit, yeah, Garvey came with the move trying to get you to move back over there. So he was some big crusader. Because he was able to get, and then like I said, the European heavily financed him. Bro. He went to European schools. He was taught by Europeans. They wasn't just sending the motherfucker like him to school, and then he was able to come back over here. And then he was funded. They just didn't take any motherfucker. Especially if you was a radical and you constantly still going to that school. Are you serious? Are you serious? He was a fucking Mason, bro. He was a Mason. He was taught by the Masons over there. He had some type of undercut. He had some type of deal that we don't know about that was trying to get us to leave our land here and go back to Africa. The same thing like they did when you read about the Maroons and the people in Nova Scotia. When they got over there in West Africa, they was pissed off, bro. They was mad as hell because the fucking land was uninhabited. And they like, yo, what the fuck, man? Yo, they was mad as hell when they got over there. I read the shit. They was mad as fuck when they got over there. They had to fucking cultivate the land. And it took a long time for them to cultivate. So, like I said, man, I see smoke and mirrors everywhere, man.
That's a fact.
Man? They always show you everybody, oh, Garvey this, Garvey that. Garvey's a fucking agent, bro.
Right.
Definitely. It's they have their secret, circles and all that, and they'll keep saying like things like the city they're finding is a mystery, but they've been looking for it. They had it in a Cortez account, and they clearly telling you right now that they found the legendary white city, as they call it, Ciudad Blanca. We're not talking about skin color always, so don't just always think skin like, oh, that's a white city.
You see it right there.
Right.
People know. Yeah, look, see? See? And they said people. No, what you saying?
I'm saying that's right there. I mean, what can you say?
They trying to sue the Canadian government because they didn't even know they was from Canada. Them people over there right now in Sierra Leone, they trying to sue the Nova Scotian government because they didn't know that they was from over there. They just found that shit out recently. And then, like I said, man, listen, bro, yo, stop telling us. Hey, man. Hey.
I was reading this today, actually, about Paul Coffey, right? So his mom is a Wampanoag. They say his father is from the Ashanti tribe, an African, right? So that he was kidnapped when he was 10 and brought over here. I always look to see if all this is true. I don't say, oh, no, he's American. I want to see that. So I haven't so far in all the accounts, they keep mentioning his dad as a freed slave, not an African. And the real accounts, not on Wikipedia. but his mom was definitely an Indian, and this is what he looked like. And all those in New England Indians, they kind of look what you would consider mulatto, but they're not. You know, there's no African ancestry in most of them at all. And it says that he was actually one of the main guys who funded it. He actually owned all those ships that were taking all the black people over there. So he was, you can definitely, you know, from just, he was really wealthy. So like he's saying, like A1 is saying, you know, these people had connections and they were part of secret circles, and you know, it was your own people selling you out and doing things like this, man. And because
bro, you know, ain't nobody. And then we can take into account at that point, but that's 1700. That's way before Reconstruction. Now, if you might have said, well, during around, but you know, even in the 1700s, man, 1759, I seen judges in North America around that time. So, like I said, to me, it's still a lot of things that I'm not clear about, that I really try not to talk about, because I don't want to get too tripped up on what I don't know. Understand this. At that point in time, if this man had money to buy ships like that, bro, trust and believe he has Europeans funding him, man. And like I said, they was already they was already sending us from the Americas, man. They was already taking the key from the Americas back to Europe and back to Africa in the 1600s. So this is something that they've been doing. So this was a plan that they've been had. They was doing this shit, bro.
Yeah,
they've been doing this. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing this. You know what I'm saying, man? They've been doing this, bro.
I can definitely talk about this because I've read about the whole side of the so-called black conquistadors that they never tell us about in history. And a lot of these Spaniards and Portuguese, we picture them as being white, but a lot of them were what they would call the Europeans would call them Moors or Moriscos or converted Jews who became Christians. And they were being thrown out of Europe at the same time that Columbus was coming over here. And a lot of them were in his ship. I mean, that's in the account. That's in the historical accounts. And
that's like Esteban.
Yeah,
that's like him.
Stevanico was one of them. Yeah, Stevanico was one of those. He came a little bit later, but yeah, he was one of the first to penetrate. You know, like they used him because he was a Negro to go talk to the tribal people. Because that's, come on. You know what I mean?
And that's what they was doing when they had the excavations, when they was moving west. They would have their so-called Aborigine Indians go meet and go talk to the other Indians to see whether or not they was hostile or not. And then that's how they would encroach them and how they would know how they would to approach them. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, that these people that was coming over here, because you gotta look, Spain and Portuguese and France, all of them continents had dark people. And I really don't know how. Like that's something that I'm probably gonna go back and understand. How did the Europeans eventually get to Europe and take over Europe? It was either that the Moors brought them down as servants into Europe and they was using them, and then they started the uprising and things of that nature. They had to bring them there, because this is when you start talking about the Slavs. So when they start talking about Slavs, they talking about the original people who they was bringing from like up in the Russia area down to Britain, like what we consider London and Britain. The royalty was at. So when you hear all the royalty, like my man said, there was still black kings and queens in Europe up until the 1800s. So, like you said, like we just being told everything in reverse. They believing the Moors invaded. The Moors ain't invaded shit because the Moors was already there. The Europeans were the people who came there late. They was the one who came there, and the same way that I don't know how they got power.
There was 10 tribes, right? There was 10 tribes that came out of the Caucasus region, that whole area. They were kind of trapped there, it seems, in these historical accounts. They were kind of like being held up there for some reason. And eventually they got out, or they whatever, and they just, from then, they've been on this conquering thing and turning everything whitewashed, not only here, but all over the world, you know, in Africa and Europe, and they're the ones who they were like them Franks. They were the Franks, and you know, things like that. But
Gaul,
they came.
what's your name? Yeah,
They came later. They came much later, and yeah, most of Europe was black nobility, right?
and all that shit. Yeah, I know exactly what. I see. Lex Will. He be having a video with that Asian brother. He be running
Exactly,
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll be up on it. I'll be up on it. Trust and believe that. He got a couple of videos where he showed that brother breaking that shit down. And when he breaking that shit down, he's basically telling you how these people started invading. Because also what you got to look at too, the Great Wall of China was basically to keep the Germanians and all them people out.
Yeah.
To keep them out. You know what I'm saying? It was to keep them out. And then when you know what I'm saying, when you start hearing about the vampire stories and all that, but see what happened was they started mating with these women. So then when they started mating with these women and they started started creating these people or whatever, and then we started looking at all of them people as the same, and not like eventually we'll be accepting all these people, and that's how I believe that one of the reasons of how shit really got the way it is. Same thing here, but how the Europeans came here and got into the so-called created these 5 civilized tribes by adding white blood to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, man. That's why I say, man, motherfuckers being backtrack, telling jokes and playing games, man. Listen, bro. It's a lot of research we can be doing instead of playing games, man. It's a lot of books out here. This brother got plenty of information. I know you ain't got time to research. I got plenty of research that I ain't got time to sit here and read all day. Yeah. So niggas ain't got time. I understand you gotta have some type of leisure time, and sometimes we gotta laugh and keep from crying. But at the end of the day, man, like, you know, enough joking is joking, especially if you ain't known for doing no research or putting nothing together. You know what I'm saying? Right. You shouldn't have a heavy voice if you're not known for putting together, you know what I'm saying, no good research or putting together no type of, you know what I'm saying, research that's liberating the people. Because listen, just like this brother do research, I do research, AP do research, you got Jag do research, you got Dame, he do research. It's a lot of us who do research, man. And a lot of
Medicine Man.
brother, Medicine Man, James do research. Man, it's a lot, man. Right off the head, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we all, just like D-Red was talking the other day, D-Red do research. So we all got something to bring to the table. It ain't nobody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can say, all right, well, together, we all could bring something that can liberate everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? I might not know everything that Cormeo know. Might not know everything that AP know. But like I said, we all can bring something to the table to liberate the people, man. But I tell you one thing, these niggas don't want to debate. They don't want to debate, bro, because if we show this information to a room full of black people or a room full of people who really want to know the truth, they going to look at them like y'all lying. Because y'all first, we could prove so easily it was black people here prior to the slave trade. Now all we have to do is prove how many of these black people was here, and because you already got the numbers, it was 380,000 people, boy. Here. Wow, so now all we have to do. No, go ahead.
Like you, like I just want to say, like I've been trying to like get to a point in my videos where I can show how classification and how slavery really started and who was really enslaved. And you helped me through that, like one of your videos when you were doing the whole Slavery Boyish website and you were breaking that down. To me, that was just like, I was like, man, come on, that's so obvious. So I pursued that. And like when we start reading like the history of how they classified, you know, the Indians and Negroes back in the days, like the mulatto, the whole, you know, colored and all that. I mean, I have one of my friends here, a lot of people know Kiowa. He sent his great granddad's, I believe, census records. And it goes like this: like in 1880, I was able to match all the years and make sure it was him and verify that it was him that he was talking about. So it says in 1880 that he was classified as a mulatto, right? In 1900, he was classified as black. In 1930, in the census records, he's actually a full-blooded Cherokee, right? So how did he go from mulatto, black to full-blooded Cherokee? Full-blooded means both parents, right? And his death certificate, he was listed as Negro. So he went 4 different classifications, and these are in U.S. Census records. right? And that's the game they've been playing for years, and that's just one example. And then all of a sudden, I'm finding out it's for everybody.
Bro,
So
you look at
he went through 4 different classifications within a lifetime.
Yeah.
Did you look at Cormel? Did you look at the Racial Integrity Act and the first Jim Crow? Because understand this too. When you understand the Racial Integrity Act, right? They're gonna tell you that the original Jim Crow was first. So in 19, remember think about this, right? They tell you that the 1890 census was burnt. Remember, they tell you the 1890 census was burned. And then when they come back in 1910, they start coming with all these different classifications, putting you colored and Negro. And prior to that, people were saying that they was Indian because you start seeing all these fucking Indians pop up on the motherfucking, on the so-called, on the census list. These are people who able to claim who they were. You understand what I'm saying? And what they saying is they starting to see a bunch of people starting to do that. So what they saying, nah, we can't do that because what they're going to do next is claim their land. So it was all about the land. It was all about land. And if you was willing to lay down, then they really didn't have a problem with you. But if you wasn't willing to lay down, then that's where all the problems came in at. So they said, nah, we're gonna rock you back to sleep by saying you Negro, you colored, and then if you are a dark skinned person claim to be an Indian, we're gonna say, oh, well, you got African blood in you. That's the only reason why you dark. And this is what they've been doing to us, bro. And this is, but they tell you. Now I would just say one more thing, right? They tell you, right? They tell you that in 1910 through 1930. Now, Walter Plecker was just the small, he wasn't the original person to do it because they was already doing it from 1910. Now, they did it in Virginia. Virginia was probably the last place to do it, but they did it in both Carolinas. They did it in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, fucking Texas. Man, it's like almost 12, 13 different states on it that they did it. So I'm thinking myself like, well, how many people could this actually be that they did this to? If they automatically classifying these people, if they said anybody who said he was an Indian, they classify him as Negro or color. So in 1960 something, they claimed that this was illegal. That's why they tell you that if you got color on your birth certificate, you know what I mean? What a lawsuit, bro. But because they telling you, bro, my people said it was Indian, but we got fucking, we got colored on our birth certificate. Now they already said it was illegal for them to do that. So now that's a lawsuit. But they ain't looking at it like that's another way you can take it at them. That you classify me as colored and Negro, and that prevented me from me claiming my land.
Yep, exactly. And I just want to show another example here. There's this book, right? I found it. It's called Indian Nullification of the Unconstitutional Laws of Massachusetts relative to the Mashpee tribe, right? So this whole book is about the Mashpee tribe, Indian people there in that part of Massachusetts. And it says it's by William Apes, an Indian and preacher of the gospel, right? So he's an Indian. But in this book, they refer to the, let me show you. They refer to the, as colored. The whole time.
Preacher of the gospel. You ain't never seen no Indians that be in church. You ain't never seen no Indian preachers.
That's what I'm saying. So he even in his own account, he says, I preach to my colored brethren, my colored brethren. He's talking, the whole book is referencing them as colored. So some fear that insurrection might break out among the colored people. They're talking about the Mashpee Indians, in which blood might be shed. And the whole book, you know, because in those times, you know, they weren't thinking, oh, we need to hide. We're gonna, and 100 years from now, we're gonna call them African Americans, and we're gonna have them all confused. You know, some people. He was just writing, right? So OG, it says here, who despise Indians merely because they are poor, ignorant, and copper-colored, or so-called Negro.
Oh, wow.
So-called Negro.
Wow.
This is about the Indians in Mashpee in Massachusetts, and they're referenced as colored people in the whole book. And this is so many examples in Massachusetts. There's mulattoes and colored and all that as well. Actually, Crispus Attucks, as everybody knows, or if nobody knows who that is, that was one of the first dudes that got murdered or got shot.
Revolutionary War.
Yeah, Crispus Attucks. I've been doing the research, and I'm going to put that in my next video. Actually, Attucks is a surname, an Indian surname. It means it's an Algonquin word. It means there, and I believe something else. But it's only the people with that last name are Indian. You know, like nobody else. You know, so it's not like an African or a slave name or anything like that. He's been called an African American. I've done the research, right, in the historical accounts. You know, in the time where the things are written, they're calling him a native Indian. And when you go to the records of Framingham, where he was born, he is listed as an Indian in Framingham, and that his dad might have been an African, right? That's what they say. And when I go read into his dad, he didn't marry his mom until way later after he was born, and there's no mention of his dad having him as his son. They do have records of his dad having 2 other kids, and none of them took the addict's last name or anything like that. So I mean, they're just, when you go read the records, when you read like how they in Wikipedia say, oh, he's an African American father, mother of an Indian, and father of an, you got to really go research that to see if that really is true. And that's not what's written in the record. So he was an Indian. The first person that died in the American Revolution was an Aboriginal. Aboriginal. He was from Massachusetts, and these are all, I'm gonna show the proof. I got all this proof. So I don't know what they're gonna continue with. You know what I mean? I think we just gotta I don't know.
They want look, everything you pull up, they going to debate on everything, no matter what it is. They're going to debate on everything. They're going to stand because, like I said, bro, a lot of these dudes, they are agents, and if they not pay agents, they agents of confusion because they don't understand it. So if you don't understand it, you need to stay in your motherfucking lane and stop crossing over to this shit because you're not ready for it. Yep. Brother here got all this research, man. Like I said, man, like look, you got more research than I need to see. You know, when I seen that Samuel Mortensen book, that was it for me. I said, I'm done. Like I can't even go. No, I'm done. You know, I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad you doing it because I damn sure need to snatch some of this research up though. But real talk, bro, when I seen that, the physiognomy of the Indian is that of the Negro. That was it. That was it. I said, no, that's it. That's it. I don't need to go. That's it. That's it. Because I got the pictures. We got anthropologists. We got everything we need. But I'm glad that the energies keep on moving you and you keep on moving forward. Because like right now, when I'm just trying to do most of the excavations now that they find through the Americas. Because you know, like you said, in the 1800s, they not lying in the 1800s. You ain't gonna find no African. You gonna either find Negro or colored, and we already know it that the copper colored people. Why would they refer to copper colored? Who else is they calling colored here? They not calling the motherfucking Indians colored. You know what I'm saying? They're not calling them colored. So who else is they referring to? So, you know, I'm definitely glad, man. When I get an opportunity, I'm gonna jump on there and see some of the research you got on there, man. I see you got so much information, man. Like I said, I should have burned a hole in my head, homeboy. Like with the shit I got right here, man. I'm like, it'll burn a hole in my head. That's what we need. We need a team. We need a round table of about 10 people who really serious about this shit, who really gonna really break down. Cause I'm quite sure you doing you speed reading through or whatever though, but just imagine somebody who really like to read, who really sit down and break this shit down, like, you know what I'm saying?
I've been sharing the library with a lot of people. I'm hoping that they're all doing that. That's what I'm hoping for. You know what I mean? The seals are open, and they made Obama scan all these books. I don't know why, but you know, it's there. You know, they're slick about how they do things and why they do things. But so we got to take advantage while we got the time right now in the platform, publicly at least.
And David, like you said, save everything you got, because what they going to tell us is that either they have African father and the Indian mother. So that's the confusion part. They trying to confuse us with that. But like, even like I was telling people, think of it, right? A white dude slipped up, right, and told me that George Washington was really killed in the Revolutionary War, and they put a white guy in his face. Now I was thinking that he might have been Crispic Attucks, because they were saying that he was pretty much from like the same area to where they give credit to where George Washington was at. But what you find funny is this, right? All these people, like Andrew Jackson, right, for example, right? Andrew Jackson was known for warring with the Indians, but how did he find time to get African slaves? because these African slaves was Indian slaves that he was getting from the people that he was capturing, man.
Yeah,
It's common sense.
None of these accounts say African. That's the thing. What I'm trying to explain. They'll just say Negro, and
I know that.
They just bring it. You know, people from the Caribbean, people from other colonies in the South, and bringing people from the North down there. They was just changing them so they wouldn't escape and know the territory. You know, that was strategic to them. You know,
bro. What they was doing was they will take you from like, all right, we get the first story about the Pequot, 1637, 1621, and plus we get the 1614 story of Squanto. If they took Squanto to Europe, Squanto found his way in 1619. They come back 1621, have their little war up until about 1637, and then before the king what's the name war start break out again in about 1660 something, right? But before then, they already tell you about the Christian Indians. No, what was it? The Laughing Indians or something like that. But they already telling you that they was already shipping hundreds and thousands. Brown University tells you that they got numbers from 2.2 to 5 million people who were shipped out from North America. Now, you ask yourself this question. If they shipped out 2.2 to 5 million people from North America, and that's a generous number, because you know when they give you numbers like that, we don't even really know, because if Charlotte was a slave port, if Louisiana was a slave port, if what was it? Charlotte, Louisiana, New York, they shipping out tribes. They not so much of bringing people in, they so much of shipping people out, and then bringing you as the Negro. But then when they see anybody, according to history, think that the word Negro, like I said, it's synonymous with the word African. So anytime you see the word Negro, you automatically led to believe that they are what's name. But you have to ask yourself this question: Columbus didn't bring no Africans here. He didn't bring no Africans here.
He was actually taking Native Americans from here. Him and all the Portuguese. There's so much records of the Native Americans that were being brought to West African islands like Cape Verde, Madeira, the Canary Islands, and all the way to Seville, Lisbon, Portugal. There's so many records there of them being sold as Negroes. The census over there, and you'll see their Christian names on them, but they'll describe them as copper or red man, right? And yeah, Columbus brought a whole bunch over there way before this supposedly the transatlantic slave trade started. I mean, they tell us that the first Africans came here in 1619. When I dug on that in Jamestown, that story, it's actually the word they used was 20-odd Negroes, never said Africans, right? So when you go read about where they came from, they were actually taken from a Spanish ship. So English pirates took them from a Spanish ship off the coast of Veracruz in the Caribbean in Mexico. They were coming from Mexico. There's a lot of black tribes in Veracruz. I have tons of images and books that relate the color in these anthropological historical books. And so they took them from there because they couldn't legally openly do it. So they would hire privateers, the English government, to raid the Spanish ships for all their cargo. That included humans, which was the Indians they were enslaving for already centuries. Like, you know, they were already doing it for the longest time. And so they brought them there, and that's what they say was Africans. But there's accounts of the Spanish already being in the States before 1619. In the 1500s, 1520s, they had colonies all the way up in, I believe, South Carolina. And they brought Negroes with them, it says in their own accounts. And then when you keep reading the book, they'll tell you who these Negroes were, and they were actually from Hispaniola.
That's right.
So there you have to follow the trail, and you'll see that there's nothing leading to Africa. That's what I'm trying to, like, who is telling you there's evidence or anything saying that they're all coming from Africa? Like, where you got to really follow up on that. Look for the book, even the sources in Africa, because I'm reading those too.
And then, like you said, they coming from Mexico, but also see what they was doing too was they were shipping a lot of people from the island of Espanol also to Mexico. And also what I read was they were shipping people from Honduras to Guyana. They was shipping people from Honduras to Guyana or whatever. Yep. So, and then they was telling you that the people who was able to understand Spanish command, they had different terminologies for them. Now they telling you they got small numbers. They got like 3 to 4 people that they shipping, 5 or 6 people, because like you said, it was privateers and the shit was, it wasn't what we thought it was. But yeah, man, we already know, man, because when, like we said, when De Soto came here, he was on the old Omichi or the Ogie River in North Carolina. And he said them people was already there. He already give an account of the people he's seen. Now these people, the Gitsi Gula, they think they from Africa because they talking about that they, man, yo, it's like, yo, really, it's just one big mess. And then you see why a lot of these brothers is confused because the spirit ain't leading them for them to pretty much understand it like we understand it, man. It's simple. When you really, well, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to give another example since we were talking about the whole mosquito jungle and everything, that whole section of Honduras and all that, and how they were taking Indians. Like, for example, the Pilgrims, they teach us in history they had only one colony and they were up there in Massachusetts and whatever. But they had another colony at the same time off the coast of Nicaragua near Honduras, right where they found this ancient city, right? And it was called Providence Island or Old Providence Island. And they were bringing all their Pequot captives and all the Indians they were capturing up there in their wars, King Philip and all the stuff they were having up there, and bringing them down to that island right there. That island would get invaded a lot by the Spanish because, you know, the English and the Spanish had beef. And, you know, they were raided sometimes. Eventually they raided it one day and they, you know, the whole island got invaded. And a lot of the Pequot captives and slaves that were there, the Pequot slaves, right, they went over to the Mosquito coast, right, where we're talking about these pyramids are. And so a lot of Pequot's descendants are in those areas of Central America today. And the thing is, when you go read about that place, Providence Island, they're going to tell you, yeah, that was a major slave place or whatever. They'll say Negroes or Africans. But when you go read the real history, you see it's a pilgrim colony and they were only enslaving Indians. They didn't have no Africans.
That's right. That's right. And that's what you see. You see that all up and down the North Coast, Terra Nova, and going out to the Caribbean. Because wouldn't it make sense that that's the reason why their key thing was basically to secure the ports along the coast? Because, you know, if you look at most of the tribes lived along bodies of water, either lakes, rivers, or around the ocean. Now, what they did was, like you said, when they came, the Europeans, their first thing was to basically get the ports. So getting the ports would be getting the coast. So the English had coast like from Massachusetts all the way throughout the Caribbean once they got rid of the Spanish, because the Spanish had it first. But when they took it from the Spanish, that's why you start getting the stories about the Maroons. The Maroons ran up it. The Spanish didn't bring the Maroons there. When the Maroons came there, and the Spanish was on the island or whatever, they was warring. So the Maroons just went to a further place up in the mountains. I mean, up into the island that the boats cannot get. So what happened was when the English got there, the English tried to take that territory from them. So they was warring, and you know, them greasy motherfuckers, what they was, they had some type of treaty with them, and then they crossed them, and then sent them back. You know, I mean, sent them to Nova Scotia. So it's not, but
that's deep because the Mosquito tribe, talking about that, they made a treaty with the English. You're right, and they were actually helping the English capture other Negro tribes, you know, their rival tribes. And a lot of them, they were sent to Jamaica. One of those included an Aztec tribe that was here in Costa Rica. They were called the Sigua. So there was this area where the Sigua is in the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. And that's where today you would find most of all the Aboriginals in Costa Rica on that side. And the darker copper colored, peoples. and you know that whole area there's a deep history there of tribal people. This is not taught in our schools here in Costa Rica. We don't know we had Aztec people come down here, and you know, they were supposedly coming here to get gold from Moctezuma, and that they found out that the Spanish had come, so they stayed here, and they were like, fuck that, let's not go back, because they had invaded over in Mexico. But these same people were invaded by the Mosquito, who were allied with the English, and they were taken to Jamaica. So a lot of these people in Jamaica well, most of the Jamaicans, Jamaica was a hub for they were getting traded. The Indians, they were taking them there, doing their sugar plantations there, and then taking them from there to Hispaniola or Brazil or even to Europe or other colonies of America. It was a hub. That's why it's out of one people, one nation, right? That's like the motto of Jamaica. And they show the Arawaks, or I believe the Indians, and their crest.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. See, but that's the key thing. The key thing is that Indian slavery. Why they not talking about no Indian slavery? Why you don't hear nothing about it? You know, understand what I'm saying? Why you don't hear nothing about this? And like I said, why you don't see none of them on the census? If you was enslaving Indians all this damn time, they telling you from the 1600s. Why don't you see what? If you was enslaving Indians from the 1600s, you know, where are they? Where are they on the census? You got two classifications, white and black. So where are they at? Obviously, they classified as black. And then when you show people this shit, they like, oh man, no, they had Indians on different. Man, get the fuck out of here. You show me where. I did the research. And they would have them on the census because you was property. So anything that was property, they enumerated your ass. So that's how I easily proved it. And then once you start proving, well, now I got a bigger number that they telling you 2.2 to 5 million people. And man, they tell you all up and down throughout, like I said, through Massachusetts, through Charlotte, Charleston, all these towns, all these places where they said they brought Africans at, they was enslaving so-called Aborigines, man, because it was all about the land. That's it. That's it. Once you get once you understand that they want the land, then you know another thing what these jokers be doing, man, that they don't think about is this, right? Listen to this, right? Damn, look at that brother right there. He got a straight up dreads in his hair, bro. Yeah. You see them shit's good right there. I ain't never see them. That's the Boma Park Mirror. Where you get them from? I ain't never seen them right there. I ain't got that one right there.
I'm about to have this book available for everybody. It's from the book 500 Nations. Very good book. The images it has. It says that the bottom image just says a rollout of a painting on a ceramic base depicts victorious Mayan warriors escorting a captive prince who stands stripped of his clothing with his arms tied behind his back. So we had beef. You know, there was beef here. That's why it was easy to conquer when they came.
Wow, he got straight up dreads in his too. You can see all of them got dreads. Look at how my man got his dreads tied though. Yep. All of them got straight up dreads. Yo, that's deep right there, bro. But that's the Boma Park Mirrors, right? That's just another part of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, wow. Checkmate. And the same thing when you get the Mendoza Codex. They got the same people in them. And then they oh man, that's because Abulkari came here with 1,500 ships. Get the fuck out of here. I believe that Mansa Musa was El Dorado. Because why are they going to Africa for gold? All the gold that's around the world came from here. They telling the story in reverse.
Yep.
They telling the story in reverse, bro, because they didn't even excavate no gold out of Africa like that. All the gold came from the Americas, man. All of the gold. You understand what I'm saying? So where's this gold that Mansa Musa supposed to have? They're lying. The gold was already in America, but what they try to do is tell you the story that he came over here to make it seem like the gold, but they was already mining the gold when they came. That was what Columbus' main thing was when he went to the island. So yeah. I mean, like I said, once you do the research on that, you pretty much understand it because so you mean tell me, like I said, all this time, so you telling me all this time that they was enslaving so-called Indians here, Now we find information that they calling the Indians Negroes in colors. So now you telling me I don't see no Mongoloids in the Caribbeans. Where they at? Where's all these people at? Where all these Mongoloids at that you was enslaving, sending them to Caribbeans and all these other places? Where they at? They ain't even got no remnants of the people when you see the other people. I could tell if they look mixed or look like Asians, but they don't even look like them. So you start saying, hold up, man. But then, like I said, I got the other I got that article from the monthly anthropology something or whatever, and it tells you Brixton, Trevor, and Julian, which are, I believe they are anthropologists in 1934, they tell you that they kept finding fucking mounds that they thought was Indian mounds in the West Indies. But come to find out, when they pulled the skull out, they said this is a Negro skull. So then what one of them said is, well, hold up, man. How do you know these ain't Indian mounds? They're Negro mounds. So then that right there, then they started saying that they found the same thing in Colombia. I believe it was in Cuba and Barbados. They found the same traces. Now I'm like, hold up. All right, that's getting us a little too close now, because now we already got Naya in the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as Luzia we got in Brazil. We're like, hold up, man, this is too much, man. And that's what I'm trying to say is it's too easy to prove that it was already black people here, or what we call melanin people, or copper people here prior to any freaking slave trade. And that's my whole claim of fame. But when the bonus, there you go right there. See, look, the bonus of it is this, right? That just so happens I wasn't planning on finding or finding the pyramids in Peru was older than the pyramids in Egypt. That was a bonus. That when I found that, I said, hold up, man. Like now, because I had Michael Cremore book in I ain't saying 90, son. I had it in 2010 or 2011, because Eileen Bay, he put me on it, right? So when I first got that, I started listening to the Amin Ra Squad. So then I kind of fell back off of it, because I started listening to them around like 2011 or whatever. So I felt back off of that book. But then I started listening to Yafa Bey again, and then I said, nah, hold up, man. But then, like I said, once we found out that the pyramids in Peru is older than the pyramids in Egypt, I said, and then I found about the pyramid. Are you familiar with the pyramids in Brazil, the one that's supposed to be made out of seashells? I don't even think they made out of seashells. I think that they was covered underwater, and they got seashells on them.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't really read about it.
They older.
I know
they older than the ones.
What you were saying earlier, how they say they found a lot of mound shells on the Caribbean too. And we got a lot in Costa Rica, actually, on the coast. Yeah, we got a lot here in shell mounds.
Bro, they older. The ones, the pyramids that they saying in Brazil, they saying that they are older than the ones in Peru. Now, I don't even, but really though, I don't really even know, because I could have swore I just heard in that little clip that AP played that nigga said that island in Honduras is fucking 8. I mean that place is 80. She said 81,000 years. She said 81,000 to 15 something. So I'm like, hold up, man. Well, nah. See, that's what I'm trying to say. We don't really even know. We can just say, well, fuck it.
Yeah, we gotta just we have to see how we got to that date. How can we? So we all know how we get to a day like that. We need to study that. And either way, we gotta, like you said before, like we can't go always so mythical so far. We gotta start trying to understand what's closer to home, little by little, and we can start getting there eventually. I think deeper like that, because once we really all this out, I think that we are eventually gonna find that truth out. Look at all the ruins they're finding, man. Who knows what they're gonna find in there? What books, what scrolls are in there?
God damn. Yeah, man. But you know what, dude?
Go ahead.
That means that we need to really start doing some of these excavations, man, or at least try, man. At least try. I don't
Right.
give a fuck. Nigga, go down there and dig up something 5 feet. At least say you done did something. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, motherfucker, go down there and take some pictures. Just dig up something. But at the end of the day, man, because you know what? They're going the same thing what we just talked in Brazil, or how they fucking burnt the motherfucking the fucking what's in the museum? Like they're gonna be doing that shit all the man, yeah. Or I'm gonna have to run up in the Smithsonian or something like yo. I have to run up and I have to do a Mission Impossible and try to get up in the vault in the Smithsonian and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, but it's a lot. It's a lot, bro. It's just a lot, man. When you really we already got it, but we got way more enough information to where we was debating somebody. It'll be check motherfucking mate. Anybody with any common sense will be looking at like I said, Garfield and them will get their ass beat, man. Because people ain't that stupid.
That's why they ain't stepped in front of us yet, man. And
ran away.
I don't know, man. We just been combing through so much information, man. We really ain't even picked up the speed on nobody yet. We just at a methodical base. So you know, man. Yeah, they ain't got no information, and I appreciate you, bro, because a lot of people ain't dropping the information that you, bro, drop it up, and you know what I mean. So you know, this was a heavyweight jam, man. We encroaching on about 3 hours. I'm gonna get ready to wrap this thing up. I don't want to have it too lengthy, you know what I mean? Take away too much part of your time. Make it short, compact, and loaded with information, man. Y'all brothers was going back, dropping so much information, man. I encourage the people watching to go back through this video, and I guarantee it was a few things that y'all missed or maybe went over your head. And you know, we just gonna keep dropping this information. I'm gonna close out. I'm gonna let Corey Mayo go in. I'm gonna let the brother unconscious one go right after him. So anything you want to say before we close out, big bro, Corey Mayo?
Yeah, man. I just want to say, like, you know, once I saw that you know, the census records was not matching the voyage and so-called number of Africans that were being brought over here, that inspired me to do this whole series, Indigenous American to African American, because I was like, oh, boom, there's the proof right there. I don't, you know, A1 already put it out. I'm going to start showing the other info, because I was certain at that point I was already certain I don't know how much information needs to be shown to you for you to be on this frequency, on this, you know, foundational truth, you know, for you to you know, start looking at the right information, know who you are, and you know, start putting things together and help us build. You know, stop listening to static stuff. You know what I mean? They don't have anything, because you know, they're all about views and entertainment and you know, really confusing you if they're part of secret circles. You know, we can't prove it, but most likely they are, because they're either really retarded or they're just plain dumb.
That's a fact, man, and that's a fact. But you know, they'll learn. All they gotta do is sit down in a corner, be still, don't talk, don't be disruptive. They might learn something in one of these people, man. These ignorant people that don't want to listen. Maybe something might hit them in the head and they'll realize it. So you know, I mean, we appreciate you, brother Corey Mayo, coming through. Stay dropping flames. Like I said, your information is powerful, brother. Thompson, this one, anything you want to say before we get ready to close out, brother?
Oh yeah, man, definitely, man. I appreciate you for having me, man. It's a pleasure to have a brother Cormier. Anytime I get with that brother, man, I could talk to him for hours, man. And I'm glad that if I was able to inspire you or help you build with your information, man, I'm glad you took it further, man. And like I said, a lot of people who subscribe to me, I don't have like the time to really put it in put it and document it like how this brother did it. So like I said, man, the brother, he opens up his information to you guys. So like the stuff that I can't provide, this brother got out there, man. So definitely, man, go through. And like I said, it's a lot of information. We can't read everything together, man. And matter of fact, you know what? I want to send you this Bananas in America article. I don't know, did I ever send that to you, Cormel, man? But this Bananas in America article is very interesting, bro. You would definitely would love that, bro. I gotta find a way to get that to you, because you're gonna need that. That's a good PDF full of information about how they comparing the bananas in the South Pacific to the bananas that they found in Peru and throughout the Americas. But yeah, I'm kind of excited now, man, because every time do research, man, makes me inspire me more to do more research. But yo, I'm like I said, it's been a blessing, man. It's been a blessing just to come along with information and meet brothers who got like-minded information, man. And sometimes I doubted myself, like in the past, like when I first started doing the research. But I just actually sat back long enough and just collected enough information, man, until when I was sure. Once I started seeing the images, then once I had the anthropology and the archaeology research, and then once I started seeing the documents, that was it. The Indian slavery is what really solidified it for me, because like they're not telling you that did it, man. That like I said, it's a couple of things that did it for me, but the Indian slavery is what really sealed that's because they admit they hiding that. You don't hear about no Indian, and then they gonna say, "Oh, yeah, the Indians had African slaves." No. The Indians had Indian slaves, or the Aborigines had Aborigine slaves. You understand what I'm saying? So when you really start looking at what was going on and what was the whole reason for that was colonization. These people, the Europeans came here. They didn't come here like the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the French. They came here to get the land. They wanted the motherfucking land, and that's how you know that the land over in Africa is not worth more than land over here, because if it was, they would be over there. Because the CIA be all up in Africa. If they really wanted Africa like that, man, then the hotel Rwanda and all that shit is CIA. That's a CIA a program. You understand what I'm saying? So if they really wanted the land, plus Cecil Rhodes all up, the most heavily how you want to say this and I'll get up out of here. The most heavily fertile land in Africa is in the Congo. You understand what I'm saying? And the Congo, that's the reason why they went there. But notice too, even when they went to the Congo still ain't heavily fertilized like North, Central, and South America. So like I said, I thank you brothers for bringing me on. Always been a pleasure, man. Until the next time, like I said, hopefully, man, this is a heavyweight jam as always, man. And I'm just looking at this information and this shit is exciting me, man. So I'm gonna definitely go. I actually got that link. I'm gonna start running through some of that stuff, man, because it's about that time. I need to really start up there. I got a lot of pictures and links myself, but I like that last picture. And one more time, Cormel, what was the name of that book you just said? The one that you just had the last one, the one with the you said that they had the prince with the dread.
The 500 tribes or something like that.
Oh yeah, 500 nations.
500 nations.
I'm about to have that available. I'm scanning the whole book because it's they don't allow you to download it online. It's one of those books.
Called 500 Nations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get them pictures, bro. I'm quite sure if I throw the 500 Nations up, I'll find them pictures, because them some different. I got most of the Boma part murals and like the Mendoza Codex. I got all that shit, like most of the Olmecs and all that, man. Like the I don't know. Do you got the Tuchila mummies?
Not a book on that, no.
But do you have any pictures? Do you have pictures of that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that, like I said, that's what I'm trying to say. Once you got all that information, it's checkmate, bro. It's really nothing no one can really see, bro. Because once you start showing that, people start shaking in their boots, man. So with that being said, man, shout out to the Aborigines. I thank the brother AP Power for bringing me on, and like I said, my brother Cormeo, thank you for doing the research, man. And I appreciate the research you've been doing, man, because you do a lot of research than some of these other motherfuckers out here who just be fucking laughing and joking. And the real talk, bro, real, you gotta give credit where credit due, bro.
No, that's fact, bro.
Some of these other motherfuckers out here who, you know what I'm saying, be tooting their horn or whatever. This brother right here got massive research, bro. So with that being said, man, give credit where credit due, man. Stop hating and just pick up the information and teach yourself some stuff, man. So with that being said, I am the Thompsonist one, man. Peace.
Man, it's always a pleasure having you on, Thompson's One. Like I said, your information, man, and the way you deliver the information, the passion, the conviction behind it, and not only that, it's founded on absolute truth, man. That can't even be disputed, man. That's why you known as one of the heavyweight hitters in the Aborigine community, and we're gonna big you up, you know what I'm saying? And big ups to the brother Corey Mayo. He is the secret assassin. You know what I'm saying? The double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Going through some of these Spanish documents, which we ain't even touched.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of information in those
oh
books,
man,
definitely.
when we start getting into this,
I just want to say, you know, I've learned from a lot of people. You know, like Kondrov helped me get a clear perspective and orientation. Lex Will, man, Lex Will's deep. UB News, you know, Higher Mart, Medicine Man, Natural by Law. And there's so many out there that I was in tune, man. I'm still in the classroom. Like I'm there, man. You got to keep learning. It's the thing is, some people have a talent to put this together like this and put it out. That's, you know, if I got that talent, then I'm gonna do that. That's my part in this, you know, because, you know, the Most High blesses us in every way, and all of us are valuable. So it's always value with value. You gotta have a value. It doesn't matter what you do. You could be the town chef. You can be the town, you know, healer. You know, it doesn't matter, man. But it's always, if you bring value, this is my value. I hope you do something with it, and, you know, you put value into somebody else, and, you know, that's how we can, you know, get out of this and start building again.
that's a fact, man. So it's always a pleasure, man. We just got to keep it up, because we all we got when it comes to this information, and we're just gonna keep applying pressure and keep on bringing the truth and going through the details whenever you brothers have time to ever even get on and implement it. But when you do, it's always a heavyweight jam. And with that being said, you already know. You know what I'm saying? We out of here.
Indeed. Peace, purge.
Yeah.
This is the part that gets scary. I try to talk with these niggas. This is the part that gets spooky. They play that role and I'm ending the movie. Yeah, I swear to God, I put the fear in God of these niggas. I swear to God, I put the fear in God of these niggas. I swear to God, I put the fear in God of these niggas. I swear to God, I put the fear in God of these niggas. I never go back on my promise. I think I don't like to be honest. They gon' keep out until I pop up. Look at them acting astonished. Claiming they trapped out of Hondas. They must was living in Disneyland. I was uptown with his problems. Stuck on the pole selling milligrams. They wouldn't last for a minute, man. Pulling all nighters on double shifts. Call them put me up on finish, man. Twice in a day, that's a double flip. Effing and twins call them double mix. Chew through your flesh like a double mint. Homicide asking my whereabouts. Nobody know where the fuck you went. Refuse to be tame, I'm a different beast. Trying to run straight in the Dickies, please. I'm on the road with the money yet. And I need a bean for a 50 piece. Completed the puzzle, no missing piece. I'm on a mission like God sent me. I'm on a level that can't be reached. Nigga, I speak like God. The party is scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't hear me. This is the part that gets spooky. They play that role and I'm ending the movie. Yeah, I swear to God, I put the fear in God.